I'm going to recommend a Chinese drama series that feels like an adaptation of some crazy, awesome web novel, but isn't. The Legend of Zang Hai is written by screenwriter Zhao Liuyi and produced by Youku. It aired on Chinese national broadcaster CCTV and concluded only last week. 40 episodes serial that is most probably going to have a season 2 if ending is anything to go by. It is an excellent, addictive series to binge watch this summer. The Legend of Zhan Hai has an original story, but is said to be inspired from Daomu Biji, an 8-volume Chinese web novel written by Nanpai Sanshu that was first posted online in June of 2006. Those adventurous stories deal with grave robbers, also known as tomb raiders. My drama list actually quotes a few of such stories as precursors to the Legend of Zhan Hai. This is a revenge drama. Zhenu witnesses the massacre of his entire family, father's disciples, and servants at the tender age of 10 over an artifact called Guishi. He is presumed dead. He is rescued by a masked man and handed over to 3 masters who train him for the next 10 years in the art of war, diplomacy, strategy, astronomy, feng shui, craftsmanship, and the art of divine and auspicious arrangement of architectural landscapes called geomancy. They don't teach him martial arts because he has a weak body, and that made things very interesting as a viewer, because Zhenu, who at 20 is transformed into Zhang Hai, will always be vulnerable, because in this one Zhang Hai has to rely on his intellect and his smarts to get out of any situation that he may find himself in. He does get help along the way from the princess and from his masters, but in this journey, Zhang Hai is absolutely alone, will always need protection from someone else who is stronger than him, at least physically. And so at 20, Zhenu is transformed into Zhang Hai. He goes back to the capital city of Great Yong to get revenge from and basically finish off the 3 enemies who carried out the massacre. He is accompanied in this task by one of his masters and finds friends and compatriots along the way. This is a serious lethal thriller where death looms large and no one is safe for long, certainly not the hero. Everyone and everything is disposable and dispensable in this drama's world. Betrayal is the name of the game, and at the heart of it stands the main lead, Zhan Xiao, who is phenomenal in the role. He embodies the grace, emotion, vulnerability, fear, and ambivalence of his character really very well, and is one of those rare Chinese pretty boy actors who go beyond the basic expressions of wooden smile and soulless cry. He oozes masculine serenity, sage-like posture, quiet contemplation, and ruthless ambition. As the face and driver of each eventful action, he has a huge responsibility, and he delivers. As for his romantic interest, I don't think this revenge drama needed one, given the dire and brutal story arcs that Zhang Hai has to survive as he helplessly watches others around him die. He has to endure backstabbing, shifting loyalties, palace intrigues, and juggling of gigantic egos as he inches towards his goal of destroying each enemy, while also ensuring his own survival. It's tricky business. Zhang Jingyi is a pretty face, nothing more. She looks too modern for this time period. My drama list site notes a voice actor has dubbed for her, and I think the dialogue delivery is flat and whiny. Her character arc is weak and makes little sense. She plays the hostage princess of neighboring Dongjie and maroons as the head of a famous hostess and theatre house Zhen Tower that also gives refuge to homeless people. All the movers and shakers are in the palm of her hand and in her debt. An astute, wealthy businesswoman who is an accomplished martial artist, midway through the series, she inexplicably accepts being Zhang Hai's hostage and then performs lip service as the female lead, losing her wealth, status, and even title of princess. She has zero chemistry with the main lead. I saw more fire and pizzazz in Wallace Chung's dead body than between them. What I found unforgivable is when she goes off to sleep just when poor Zhang Hai discloses the story of his life and all the training he had to endure to make it in the crown court, and she sleeps through it. You can see in the way that scene is filmed that despite having love for her, Zhang Hai will always be alone, no matter who he is with. Dong Xia is important to the story, but the female lead isn't. Truth be told, this story could have done without her, especially when at midpoint it starts to seem like Zhang Hai is not going to ride off into the sunset alive. The rest of the cast is brilliant. The General Liu Ying reminiscing about his great battle-hard legacy, who is selfish, dismissive, and cruel to the core. His ambitious first wife, and good-for-nothing sons. The Minister of Rites eunuch Gao, who has a dramatic flair and great taste in music and performing arts, but is equally dismissive of human life and dignity, despite suffering from an unjust punishment of castration as a kid. The backstory of the three enemies, their childhood, and why they sought Guishi for ultimate power. The identity of the mysterious masked man, who is Zhang Hai's benefactor, and who I guessed for 30 episodes as a ghost soldier. I was wrong. You'll have to watch the drama's third act to know who he is. Another great character is the righteous, frugal finance minister Bing Wen, a man who fixes his own roof with his own hands despite having the entire treasury at his disposal to loot from, a man of small words and big ideas. As for the Emperor of Great Yong, I've not watched that many Chinese historicals, but the arc of an undeserving member of the royal household becoming emperor is true here too. The least accomplished and qualified youngest brother became the emperor. This guy knew nothing that was going on in his court, right under his nose. But this soft-spoken and lame-duck emperor is menacing in his silences, and you can feel that one wrong word could end your life if the emperor doesn't like your answer. The music and song at the start credits is amazing and complements the story. The footage of sea and waves turning and twisting and then calming down made me wonder what the start credit footage meant in terms of the story. And there's a Zhang Hai dialogue in the first half of the series that made me understand the meaning of the start credit footage. Quote, "I was just like a drowning man, clutching a floating branch in the currents and trying to make it out alive." Unquote. That is what it's like for Zhang Hai in the capital, in the court, and in the tomb. The series has been directed by Zheng Xiaolong, and it's a grand epic series that should be turned into a book. It's the perfect amalgamation of mythology, history, culture, gender roles, and injustice, and a Count of Monte Cristo kind of a revenge story, minus all the money. Looking forward to another high-stakes gruesome adventure in Season 2.